What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review Podcast. I got a very special guest in the house today. We got Bryan Harris from Death Before Dishonor, Boston, Massachusetts hardcore band. If you're not familiar, you should be. But what's up, Bryan? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing well. Dude, it's hard to continuously get a hold of people to do this. So I appreciate your time, man. Time is the one thing we don't want to waste. So thank you.
For sure. And I appreciate you taking the time to do this as well.
Absolutely, man. So I checked out y'all's latest single, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the damn name of it now.
Master of None.
I'm sorry?
Master of None.
That's what it was, Master of None. And then there was a cover song on there that I'm like, I did like a review, and I'm like listening to it, I'm like, this sounds really familiar. And I just couldn't pull it ahead. But man, I was really happy to see you guys still out there grinding, man. And like,
yeah, for sure.
Y'all been doing this since like the year 2000, right? It's been 20 years or 23 years.
2001, I think we started, like early 2001, the band got put together, and I think we did like a demo and then put out True Till Death in like 2002 or something.
Yeah, that was 2002.
Or it could have been I don't even know. I started losing my mind with these years.
For sure. Yeah, I actually came across the Spook City CD True Till Death.
Oh, yeah.
And back then we were all listening to like Madball, Terror, Gnostic Front, and y'all have remained one of the more pure hardcore bands that, in my opinion, that's out there. Absolutely, man. And there's nothing wrong with anything that anybody's doing, man. You do what makes you happy, but like, I'm a punk rock guy, so like the hardcore that I like tends to lean more into that,
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of punk rock. I like a lot of fast hardcore. I like all hardcore, but DBD has a sound, and I kind of feel like we stick with that, especially like since Friends, Family, Forever. At least try to. It's just what we do. I don't know. Like, there's no like real formula to it.
It sounds pretty natural. It doesn't have a forced feeling at all.
Yeah,
well, that's what you don't want to do.
Absolutely. And I think like certain records might have like maybe like a little more punk influence, not necessarily like straight up punk, but just like faster stuff or like a little thrash. Just because like the older we got, I feel like we just, not purposely, but you start expanding into like stuff that you grew up on. Yeah.
Well, also like trends change and what you listen to changes throughout your whole life.
100%.
There was a point in time where I didn't listen to anything except like beatdown and hip hop.
Yeah,
and I'm like a punk rock guy. I was wearing like Rancid t-shirts, listening to like Screw, and people like this guy, and I'm like, yeah, this is what it is, man. So
for sure.
That's awesome, man. You guys have been around long enough to have toured before stuff like Facebook's, certainly before TikTok was around. How has that kind of changed the way you guys approach things, or what have you seen out there that has changed for the better and worse?
I think that with the day and age of the internet, and don't get me wrong, like when we started touring, I think there was an internet or like the beginning of the internet, when there was like message boards and, even
MySpace, Bridge 9 board.
yeah, exactly. And that was a little later, but even at the very beginning, I remember there were certain sites like there was like a East Coast hardcore website, whatever. But yeah, things have absolutely progressed, like even from MySpace and the Bridge 9 message board, where now, everything moves so fast. I think it's weird because, how I came up from even before the band started getting into hardcore and stuff like that, you had to like work super hard to like figure it out, if you didn't have like an older friend to like give you stuff to figure out more bands, and a bunch of people talk about it from that generation where it was like reading thanks lists or seeing t-shirts or, going to shows and watching all the bands. But as far as a band's perspective, like, as far as how things are now, it definitely moves way faster, but it's also in a way easier. I think, you can reach more people. It's easier to book tours, get on tours, find out about shows. Compared to like back in the day, you'd have to like call an actual club and listen to the listing for the week, call everyone, see what's going on for shows to go see it. So I think sometimes maybe people might come and go quicker because it doesn't take as much energy to like get into it, like as much hard work. But That's still to be determined. You know what I mean? But I do think that you can have a wide reach. I think that, you know, and in modern times too, it's kind of cool because I feel like the scene is very diverse. And when you can
Yeah.
reach more people in a diversified like format, like, you know, TikTok, Facebook, and all that stuff, I think it kind of helps. You know what I mean? Like I said, from a band's perspective, I think it does.
Well, there's always going to be downsides to things like that. Everything has a positive and a negative. Uh,
100%.
I feel like you probably remember Willow and Hate Tank down here
Yeah,
in
yeah, I
Houston.
remember Willow. Yeah.
So I remember very vividly being the guy that he was like, "Hey, you want to come help me do flyers?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got you, bro." And
Yep,
I would
yep.
show up and hang out with him and Rob to Live and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pride Kills Guys. We would go around flyering, and I mean,
Absolutely.
it was like riding a bicycle with a backpack on. I'd get off and go inside and,
For
"Hey, can I
sure.
put these here?" They're like, "Yeah." Throw a stack down, and we
Yep.
started doing like the quarter sheet ones because they were a little more cost effective. And
Right, because you could do like 4 on one sheet.
yep,
And put it up.
yep, and so there's definitely a an increase in like effective what's the word I'm looking for here, like efficiency
For
with
sure. Right,
online
you don't
stuff.
have
But
to go
like,
to Kinko, you don't have to like design something, then go to Kinko's and I mean, I still think that some people do still, aside from just making flyers, because I think people are going back to like designing cool flyers, and that's like kind
yeah,
of like I don't want to call it a trend, even though it's kind of a trend, but it's a cool trend, like because now
yeah,
you're
trends aren't necessarily bad.
right, exactly. But I still think there are people like, you know, at least in Boston, I'll go to some shows and you'll still see people out there handing out flyers at shows and stuff like
That's
that.
awesome, dude.
And I think that's cool because you actually like connect with someone, you're handing something off. But you're right, like the cost of like going to Kinko's and then having if you made the 4, you had to find a paper cutter and cut it,
Yeah,
and like, you know, go to a record store, be like, can I leave this here? Or go to shows and hand them out. But you know, like I said, I think people are still doing that. I think there's some stuff nowadays that like that people thinks cool from like a throwback era, so they're doing it. Like I
yeah,
said, if you look online, a lot of these flyers are hand drawn now, and that's kind of cool because that's how it used to be. You know,
yeah,
granted, it's be on Facebook, but it looks cool.
yeah. It's an
And
aesthetic that they're looking for, and I get
absolutely,
that.
yeah, and like you said, when things change, like, you know, I've been doing this band for like 20 years now, and I'm not like, you know, someone that came up in like the 80s. I
Yeah,
started going to shows in like 93. And that was a different time. But like I've seen like, you know, from 2000 till 2023, the way technology's changed. Like I am getting older, but I'm also like not far removed. Like, you know, I still hang out with like younger friends. You know,
dude.
like I'm kind of like I may not understand everything, but I see how it's going. And like you said, there is a negative to everything for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also try to like not just be like that miserable old guy that's like, oh well, in my day it was this, because it's like as much as I'm still a big part of the hardcore scene, I like to think, as far as not even just a band going to shows, it's also like their generation, like the young,
Ye-
you know what I mean?
it is theirs. I'm 41, so I feel like I'm in the exact same position where I'm like part of the elder punks guys, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still in touch with what's going on for the most part. I have a small little label that I do out of my apartment, or I say apartment, it's my office, it's in my house. But I screen print shirts still. Like I do all this
Yeah,
stuff
so
by
you're still
hand.
involved, you know, and listening to
Yeah,
records and
but I
we're
still utilize the new stuff, man. I utilize technology to sure as hell use it to help me make cool designs for my label and my shirts and stuff.
absolutely.
But there are times where I'm out somewhere and I'm with like I have this band called Poppers from Houston that I'm working with,
Okay.
and they're quite a bit younger than me. This for the most part, and like, yeah, dude, I do feel a little like I'm just kind of like, man, I hope I don't look like a freaking idiot out here like talking to these kids because I can't leave this. This is all I know. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be really weird if I'm pushed out of my own place, man.
Yeah, there's certain things like, you know, I mean, I'm not the most tech savvy, but I'm also not like complete Neanderthal. Not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, there's certain trends like I know like now in hardcore like TikTok. Aside from hardcore, TikTok's like a huge trend, and I know a lot of people are
Huge.
into TikTok, getting into hardcore through TikToks, whether you know it's viral videos from shows and stuff like that. And it's like I'm not on TikTok, so like, but I get it. I understand
Yeah.
how like, oh, there's a sick video. Look at this band, look at this show, and people are seeing that and jumping into it.
I just learned today, and I'm not 100% sure on this. So if somebody sees this and I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But I think that TikTok and Spotify have
Yeah.
linked up. Bro,
I wouldn't be
if
surprised.
that's the case, I would tell anybody that's even considering making music, get on TikTok, because I've got 17.5K on TikTok
Yeah.
because of one video that blew up. One video blew up and it went boom.
And that's it, and you got to think like TikTok's quick videos. A lot of people utilize that platform. So I'm not like, that's why I think that stuff's important, because look, you have one video that pops, then you reach X amount of people, and then you keep on putting out stuff, whether it's bands or content or music, and it still reaches people.
Yeah, well, they even expanded it to be like up to 10 minutes of video now. Like they still prefer the shorter stuff, and they'll get the most views. But I have like 45, 60-minute podcasts that I can take in like 9-minute clips and upload the whole thing to my TikTok, and it directs people to my Instagram. It's weird being in this from at least my standpoint at 41, and I've got 3 kids, so they're growing up in this world, and to me it's still kind of strange, and they're just like, oh no, Dad, you do this. And I'm like, dude, you're 10. How do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I don't have kids, so like unfortunately I don't get the tutorials, but yeah, being like 44, like I think, but think about that, like, so back in the day to reach X amount of people, you'd be sending stuff away, you'd be like handing stuff out, you'd be at every show, and now boom, you can reach that many people. Now, I do think people's attention span is a little bit shorter. So
it's a lot shorter.
Whether they remember you, for a long period of time, that's to be determined. But I do think that's what I mean. That's why I kind of like, yeah, for sure. There's absolutely things with technology that I'm just like, man, this ruined this, this, and this. But that's just my perspective from when I grew up. But then I look at it, I'm like, well, dude, I don't have to like go to the post office, spend X amount of dollars to mail a CD to a club and hope they call me so I can play a show. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine like right now being told, hey, Bryan, you have to stop using your Instagram. I need you to go buy 2 spindles of 100 CDRs. I need you to put 2 songs on all of them. And then I need you to send these out. And then I need you to take 25 of them and pass them out tonight at this show. Like that, the amount of time and money that takes, like it is kind of, I have fond memories of it. Yeah. But like, I don't want to go back to that, because if you make the right first impression, you're good, bro. Like if you're nice to people and you make a quality product,
for sure,
you should be able to do just fine. And it doesn't take as much as it used to take to get popular and make some money either. So you can pay some bills doing it a little bit easier. It's interesting right now.
I agree. I do think like those times when you had to like burn CDs, and I remember the first European tour we did in like 2005, Friends Family Forever was supposed to be out, and it didn't come in time. But we were on like a massive tour with Agnostic Front. So me and Frankie, our old bass player, even though we're still kind of involved. Anyways, we're literally burning the EP and making copies. Like, but you could only do like 20 before the show. But I do think what I was trying to say was, I think that like that little bit of ethic and creativeness to figure stuff out did help me become who I am now. So I 100%. Think like the current technology, having that like DIY or make something happen ethic, like really helps band.
There's a certain amount of disconnect from the younger generation to their fans.
Right.
But I know kids like, so I do a lot of hip hop content on a larger channel that I have. Yep. And it's wild. These kids will tell me like, all I listen to is Lil Peep. That's it. I don't listen to nothing else. And I'm like, dude, if you can become that person for any small group of people, you're good. Yeah. Because, and I think it's very possible with all the music that's coming out. It's interesting. I prefer the tried and true method of, make a record, tour the record and everything. But I do see the appeal, and I do see the intelligence. I was just talking to a young lady named April from a group called Apes of the State. Okay. And she was talking about how she's trying to blend I want to put out a record with I want to put out singles all the time to increase my streaming numbers. And I'm like, that's the most. So schedule your album for the end of the year, and then throughout the 12 months, every 3 to 4 weeks, drop a song. Yeah. End of the year, album comes out.
A single, people are getting that attention. And that's why like, I mean, even for like hardcore bands, like we just did that. So, we hadn't done a record in like from like I think it was 2009 to 2019. for numerous reasons. We didn't stop. We just we did a bunch off Better Ways to Die that came out in 2009, and then lineup changes and just regular life. So we kind of we didn't stop, but we didn't tour like crazy. Anyways, we didn't put out a record. So we put out a record in 2019, and it was Unfinished Business. And it's like 8 songs. And even when we were doing it, we had other songs. And I'm like, I don't even see the point of a full length anymore. You know, like people enjoy bands, and I love the bands I love. Yeah, I want to hear a full length, but like you said, like it's all about the singles or X amount of songs. So when we put that out in 2019, then the pandemic hit. And then we're like, all right, well, and we started ramping up touring. Things were good. And the pandemic hit. So after the pandemic, we hit the ground running. And then we're like, wait a minute. Well, now it's technically been like 4 years since we put something out. So that's why we dropped that single. And like years ago, I don't think someone would just go into the studio and record a single, and it's literally,
I know
it's 2 songs. Like, and now it's like, well, we'll do this because we have a bunch of shows coming up, and that'll buy us time till our next recording, which is basically we're trying to record later this year, early next year. But 10 years ago, you would be like, let's just go record one song.
No, you would go in there to record like 8 songs, and with the plans of either doing like an EP or a couple of splits or something. Like you had like a long-term plan. I think it's basically still that same ideal, but now you're utilizing social media. And I think if you can it puts you in a position where you have to put out stronger songs the whole way through, because they're all going to be singles. And if you drop one and it gets 20% of your last one, you're like, yo, what did we do wrong?
Right. And so it's like back in the day, you'd have an album and then you'd have the single or maybe 1 or 2 singles off it, where now it's like everything needs to be a banger and catchy, and like that's cool though. Like it kind of makes you like work.
I think it helps both people, man. It helps the crowd of our era where they want the vinyl, they want the tapes, whatever. Because I do cassette tapes, and I'm doing
now.
Dude, it's wild, bro, and I'm having a hell of a lot of fun. But my buddy called me. I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Bullshit Detector, but they called me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, can you help me do a single? I want to do like a single." And I was like, "Yeah, bet." We had it immediately. He already had it recorded. I had it like artwork in, paid in full, ready for the test press to come my way in like 2 weeks. And it's cool because that costs so little that we can put $6 or $7 price tag on those. They'll sell all day long at the show. We run out, we press another 100 or whatever, right?
Right.
Dude, you can do that stuff all year long, man. It's if you just think about it, you can make a lot of fun out of this now, man. It's not so hard like it used to be.
Especially where like tapes are making a comeback, vinyl's still selling cool.
Bro, vinyl's wild.
Yeah. It's seems like it's getting a little better, but for a minute it was like super hard. Pressing plants were backed up, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But vinyl still sells great as long as you can get it. I do think the price on like the cost on vinyl is going up but I also heard
that's why I don't do it.
There's more plants now there's supposedly going to be more pressing plants, which
if competition gets back where it should be, I would love to do vinyl. But right now, I can afford to do tapes and CDs, and I can do those pretty much whenever. Like right now, if somebody hit me up and goes, "Hey, I need a tape," I'm not planning on another one. I've got 3 coming out. If they call, I can do it next week. And it's like I couldn't do that with a LP or even a 7-inch, dude. The prices are crazy.
High, the shipping's expensive, and the wait time is crazy.
Yeah, the wait time's bananas, man. So when you guys are setting up for a tour, I guess it's gotten a little easier now over the years to do all that stuff, huh?
Yeah, I mean, granted, like we have some of the book shows for us, but I mean, like, but like, I'm still kind of hands-on, but like with the internet and stuff, routing's easy. You don't have to print out MapQuest directions.
For real. Dude, man, I remember MapQuest though, for real.
You leave a tour and have like 20 MapQuest sheets from one city to the other, but things are cool, man. It's, the world's moving, and like I think hardcore is really popping. There's a lot of good young bands.
A lot of good bands out there. A lot of good labels.
Like big moves, which like puts more attention on hardcore. So that's a really good thing. It's a good time for hardcore.
Well, it goes from like bands like Turnstile all the way to like Kublai Khan. Like there's like, and the genre has punk rock's the same way right now. There's all kinds of different punk rock coming out, and I'm happy that that's the case. Let's reach back in the past a little bit, man. What got you going to hardcore shows? What was your introduction to this kind of music and punk rock in general?
So, I mean, when I was younger, I was into like hip hop, and then I got into metal. I remember, whether it was Headbangers Ball or like Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? Like I remember seeing like the Suicidal video with the skateboarders, and I was skateboarding. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I'm like, this is heavy, but they don't seem regular. And then I remember seeing like the Biohazard Punishment video, and just being like, all right, cool. So then that led me down a rabbit hole. So I started, I think I bought a Biohazard tape. I had a tape, a record store in my town. So I got that. And then like going down thanks lists, figuring out who Agnostic Front is and stuff like that. And then, I want to say this was probably like 91, 92, but like all I know is my first show was definitely 93. Biohazard played Boston with this band Stompbox from Boston and Reason Enough. So that was my first show. But yeah, nice. I was like hip hop. Then it got into Slayer. And then when I saw Suicidal and then I saw the Biohazard video, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, and then being at that Biohazard show, I was like, okay. And it was like maybe like a 500 cap room. The show was wild. And like the dudes from the band were around. And I'm like, this isn't like a metal concert. Like,
yeah.
And to me, even though like, to me, it was like, okay, this is hardcore is like metal with like hip hop feel to it. So it took like the two things that I grew up on and it like mixed. Cause when I was like younger, I didn't get in it through punk. I got into punk later. So it was more like,
okay,
hip hop, metal, hardcore, and then went on from there. But yeah, once I got into it, I was like a couple kids from my town. Cause I grew up in this town called Randolph, which is like 20 minutes outside of Boston.
Okay.
And there was a couple people that were like, cause we were skating. There were a couple people that were kind of into stuff. We'd go to shows and then they would fizzle off. And then I went to every show I could.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Most people are, people from our generation, most of them have either one of two answers to that question. It's either, oh, I was a punk rock kid and I went to like as an example myself, I didn't realize that Dropkick Murphys, Agnostic Front, and Rancid weren't all the exact same thing. It all sounded the same to me. So I didn't understand that Oi existed. I didn't understand that hardcore existed. So when I would go to shows, I got an Agnostic Front tattoo when I was 19 on my freaking forearm. Had no idea that was a different kind of music than what I listened to.
Right.
So most people either go, I got into it from punk rock or hip hop or skateboarding. Because it's all skateboarding because skateboarding got all of us into this stuff.
Skateboarding played a huge, and I haven't skated in years, but skateboarding and like for sure played a huge, and like I said back then, like when Beavis and Butthead would play clips of stuff, and then you had the original Headbangers Ball. Yeah, there was sick videos, and that definitely like that lured me in to figure out. Oh, and then someone was like, oh, this is a show, and I went to that first show, and then it's like, okay, so then there was like a local zine. It was like a Boston music scene. It was free, and you would go to the market, and there would be like club listings and show listings, and between that and buying tapes and being like, all right, I like this, and boom, and I went to shows.
We have Houston Press down here. I guess we did. I don't know if it still exists. I live kind of out in the sticks now. Right. I got a little place with my family out here, but like, I think it's funny because a lot of kids, younger kids, and there's no like hatred or no issues with them, but they don't understand like the amount of work it took to be a punk rock kid. I had to fight my parents about it. I had to fight my friends about it. I had to fight the school about it. Then I had to figure out where the hell I was going to find music at. I mean, I remember when I finally got a NoFX tape from Best Buy, and I could not wait to open that damn thing so I could read the liner notes and find more bands. And then I had to write the bands to get the music. I mean, it was a pain in the ass. I live in Houston, so
too. I forgot about because I would get stuff that the store
mail order, bro. Come on.
But then there was stuff that like you couldn't find, right? So you'd be like, "Oh, who's Sub-Zero?" And you're like, "It's their music's not in the thing." And I will say too, like in the mid '90s, and I know he I mean, I haven't talked to this dude in years, and I know he's got some issues, but I think also like the distro, so I'll say like Rick to Life, like if you went and saw 25 Life and then you got like his mail order or like distro or zines where you figured out how to like send away to a label and mail money to get a tape or something.
I did that a lot in the 90s.
I mean, I remember Sub-Zero, I remember sending away before Happiness Without Hope came out, or maybe, it had to be because it was a demo with 3 songs on it, and I sent like $10, and that was a lot at the time. But I also got shirt, and I was like, I got the tape and the shirt, and I was like, that's sick. You know what I mean?
Dude, dude, telling some kid from now that $10 is a lot of money, they just look at you like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I got something I wanted to show you just because it kind of came up in conversation naturally. So when I was a kid, I did a lot of the buying stuff online too, and not online, excuse me, through mail order.
Yeah.
And I wrote to Rancid once and just was like, I was like, hey, I just love your band. Like, I don't know how to get any of your stuff. Like, if you have things, and then like they wrote me back and then sent like a little manila envelope with an actual like Rancid only mail order booklet. It was like black and white photocopy. They probably did it, or somebody at Hellcat or something.
Right.
And but they like wrote it and signed it for me. It was really cool because I got a few shirts and a couple of albums out of that. But I remember right after that, inside of one of the leaflets was, I believe this one's an epitaph, right? Yeah. So there was an epitaph thing, and this is what album art used to be. So I mean, it still is, but it used to be so important because I got this silly ass record because
that's amazing, yeah.
Because I was like, I showed my dad. I was like, "Hey, can I get this?" And he's like, "Your mom is gonna be so pissed."
Right, but you saw the picture because in that package you got, it had the epitaph stuff.
Exactly,
and you're like, "What is that?" Yeah,
yeah. And so, I mean, that album's got a legendary career in my hands because I got in a lot of trouble having that at school. But like,
sure.
But like, what I was trying to get at was that all that stuff was so hard to be a fan of this stuff, which is kind of what I liked about it. I liked that I was the guy that knew this stuff, and I was like, no, this is my thing. You guys leave me alone. You didn't like it when I was doing it before this. Right. Gatekeeper Central over here, but like,
yeah, but there's something to it. Like, obviously, you're not like that now, but yeah,
I don't give a shit
with people around you when they were like, oh, this is cool, but yet you put in that like 2 years of like collecting tapes and records and CDs and finding out where the shows are, and when someone came into it, you're like, wait a minute. But that was like kind of like, there was, aside, some people might want to call it gatekeeping, but to me, I always felt like, you put in the work, and sure, you can come to shows, but it's like, earn your spot. You know what I mean? But now it's like, but then the older you get, and it's like, well, now I want everybody to know about it. So
right.
And you can figure it out in 2 seconds. But yeah, it's funny because the mentality in like the 90s, to now is just completely different.
It really is quite a bit different. I do think that it's silly to like be overprotective of things, but when it also comes with age though, because when you're younger, that is more important to you, like protecting your stuff, because that's whatever anybody wants to say about it, that is your identity. This is our identity. I've got tattoos all the way down. Like, I mean, come on, bro. Like, this is who I am.
The time you're talking about too, at least the people I was around with, like I said, there was a handful of people that were into it, but say there was like, skate. So I was skating. So, kids might be into metal or punk or whatever, but then there was all these other people that like, were like, what are you listening to? You know what I mean? Like that, what is that shirt? Like whatever. Right. So they never cared. Right. So when I did all this stuff, that's why it's like, oh, it actually is my thing. Cause it wasn't pop culture. It wasn't trendy. It was true underground. It's just like tattoos. Like not everybody had tattoos, you know what I mean? So you started getting it. It was your thing. It was something that like you invested a whole bunch of energy into. So
it's kind of like people that want to put that numbing cream on them to get like a neck or chest tattoo. Right. Like I've got enough tattoos now to where I feel like I've kind of earned the right to do whatever I want. I still haven't done that yet, but I have considered it. But like these kids that go in and want to get a whole entire like throat sleeve. And I'm like, bro, you can't do that you got to get something that hurts first, man. Like, it's a dumb way of looking at it, I guess, but it does,
I hear you. It's from how we came up, and that subculture had this like, I don't, like I said, there was like a whole, like, you didn't just like open up a book and just learn about the subculture. There was many different factors, and it wasn't easy. So like when you start learning and getting super into it, of course, you're going to be protective because you put in all that effort, and
that's the key word, effort.
Yeah. And it was, like I said, I'm actually happy it's easier for kids, especially the older I am being in a band, like, but there was like, that's why I could never not go to a show. Even the older I get, and I'm still playing in a band, but I'm like, there's something about this subculture that like I don't know, you work so hard for it when you're
Oh,
young that it's like, I'll never leave, even if, older you get, whether it's families, life happens. You don't go, I'm not going to a show 4 times a week. You know what I mean? But I'm still out there.
yeah. I still go to shows occasionally. Actually started going. I'm 10 years sober now, so like for like 8 years, I didn't go do anything. I still listen to music, but I was like, I can't be around that
Like,
stuff
be
because I
in
don't
that
have any.
environment because you're just going to link, like, I got to get a
Yeah,
beer.
and so it was cool going back and seeing who was still there. And they were like, I knew you'd be back, motherfucker. I'm like, yeah, bro, I can't be a permanent goner. I was like, but it's interesting, man. I still get that feeling, dude. Like, there's because like I sift through YouTube and look for bands because I do a live stream every Sunday where I try to introduce people to bands that I've never even heard of. I'm like, hey, yo, I just discovered these guys, and there's a band called Slant that I just discovered from South Korea. But there's a Rotting Out. I know you know who they are.
Yeah, they're dope.
Like, bro, like I don't know if they're still around, but because I just heard of them like a year ago.
I know they put out something a couple years ago. I mean, they're still a band. I just don't know if they're touring much anymore. Like, they're from LA. I feel like they played some fest like a year ago. I just don't know how often they play. But yeah, they're a phenomenal band.
Yeah,
I love
that. It's like when I heard that band, I immediately felt the way I felt. Because so like, okay, so you know Gabe from Pride Kills, right?
Yeah, Gabe well.
Okay, so when I've known him since high school. We went to high school together. And then I move into a neighborhood one day with like it's like a punk rock house. And I'm talking like charged up hair, like mohawks, like street punk stuff, right? And so I'm outside skateboarding in the cul-de-sac one day, and I like look over, I think to my right, and I hear like a voice I recognize, and it's freaking Gabe. He lives 2 houses down. And I'm like, what's up, bro? And so we link up, and he's like, yo, you got to hear this band I started. And I was like, hell yeah, what's it called? He's like, Pride Kills. And he gave me like the master CD. And I listened to that Life of Hate. Dude, it's still my favorite guitar riff of all time, but it changed my whole life. For sure. And that's how I felt when I heard Rotting Out. I was like, oh, this right here. And so I could never like, I'm still a punk rocker at heart, but like, dude, like hardcore. So it melds it all so well that I'll never not like it, man. But
there's so many, like with this new generation, there's so many young bands that are like putting out good stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, hey, Buggin'. You heard Buggin'?
Rotting Out's been out band for they're younger compared to us, but they're not that young.
I guess it's weird that like 2015 is like a long time ago now. Like,
I know, right? But that band's dope though, for sure.
Let's see, man, who else is out right now that's just killing it? Like, I mean, I still feel like Power Trip, I wish they, man, R.I.P. Riley, bro, but like stuff like that, man, there's just all these bands that just come around. And like, I remember the first time I heard Lois or True Till Death, bro. Like, I mean, that's one of those songs that you hear it and you go, yeah, bro, like I could get down with this. Thanks, I mean, man. I've never got rid of that CD. I've had it for 21 years. It's crazy, bro. Like, it's awesome, bro. It's like one of the best feelings ever, which is what makes talking with people that are in this so much fun for somebody like me. For sure. And then I got to talk to like the new generation. I just had Adam from Conservative Military Image on a couple months ago, and I had no idea that video was going to do what it did, that album was going to do what it did. Woo, buddy.
I mean, half of that, 3/4 of that band's from Boston. They're all good friends of mine. They're killing it. Dudes. Yeah. Adam lives in Chicago, but yeah, the band's great. I think they were just in Texas a month or two ago.
Like a month and a half ago.
They did a run with like that band Liberty and Justice from Texas.
That's my old Ryan, the singer, was my old bass player. So like that's my dog right there, man.
We're actually doing a run with them in October in Texas.
Oh, are you with who? Oh, Liberty and Justice?
Yeah, us, Liberty and Justice. We're playing Houston with like Will to Live and Liberty.
Will to Live.
Yeah, and then we got Test in Austin, and then we play Corpus, and then Dallas.
Oh, I will 100% be at that Houston show. Like, absolutely. Cool. I just talked to Rob on the channel. His episode drops tomorrow morning.
Oh, awesome.
That's my. I mean, it's amazing talking to all you guys, dude. I truly love doing this stuff. And some people go, "Oh, you talk too much." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm a fan, bro. It just is what it is, man. Like, you got to get over it, dude."
Cool about these platforms, right? You just have conversations. Like, I mean, how many? I've done a million interviews, but every conversation is different, right? That's why it's like, and
that's why we keep doing them.
Whether you're someone that's my age that came up and someone that's doing a podcast that's younger, that's learning about what it was like. So, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that because it's just interesting. It's the conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm fixing to start dropping these on different platforms. I want to get it on Spotify and such. I have all the footage on my hard drive.
Nice.
And what I was thinking whenever I started doing this, because this whole channel was an accident. It wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, dude, it's weird. Like, I'm not going to get into it because it would take forever to tell anybody. But, like, it was just kind of a happy accident. And, like, I was thinking, because I was talking to my buddies about talking to you today, and one of my friends, because my friends are kind of normie types. They don't really go to shows. One of them kind of does. But he was like, yo, I know that band. And I was like, I knew one of y'all would know who I'm talking about. And he was like, hell yeah, man. He's like, you got a whole different like array of people coming on. I'm like, well, I don't want to pigeonhole myself. I want to just be anything punk and punk adjacent. That includes some metal stuff. So talking with you and then talking with somebody from some folk punk bands, dude, that's going to get stuff all across. And I'm hoping that kids that don't know you yet will hear you.
Right.
And then
hear from us from the other podcasts. And I mean, that's what, and you know, what's funny is I feel like when you look at a hardcore show nowadays, it's almost similar. And that's how it was when I started going to shows. Like the bills would be like diverse. You would have Blood for Blood, Bruisers or Dropkicks or would play, whatever. But I feel like now when you go to a hardcore show, all the bands sound different, even though they're kind of adjacent.
Way different.
So that's cool because I feel like you said, even though you're talking about like doing a quasi different genre, it's all somewhat adjacent. So if someone's checking that podcast out, may go to a different episode and it follows down. You know what I mean?
That's the hopes anyways. Like it's really a good time to be doing this, man. I'm having more fun. It's funny too, because when I was in my 20s, like I did a little bit of like interviewing people for like MySpace and such. I had like a little vlog on there and it was cool, but I like cut my teeth doing that. And I put out a couple of CDs. I don't know if you ever heard of a band called Grave Robbers from down here.
Yeah.
I was the one that put out their first EP. Okay. And so like I learned all that stuff back then and I was a mess, bro. I was an idiot. And then so now that I'm a little older, it's pretty cool that I've already learned how to do a lot of it.
Right, and now I'm using it. So you can just kind of pick up where you left off and
just man. Yeah. Right. And then my kids get to see it. And I was telling my wife, I was like, I do all these videos, man. Like part of it's for me.
Right.
Part of it's for them, dude. One day I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And they're going to be like, yo, I can go watch my dad. Check this out. This is my dad. He talked to all these people. They were all cool. And, he'll listen to this.
And the connections with all that. That's real cool.
Yeah, man. So hopefully it's for something that's longer lasting than just my lifetime. But
right.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. What are your favorite hardcore bands right now? Do you have any like more modern stuff that you're jamming?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like good younger bands from Boston. This band Risk, they're really fucking cool. I'm gonna
write all this stuff down because I feel like I might know. I feel like I know who they are, actually.
What's that?
I said I feel like I know who Risk is.
They've been doing a lot of stuff. Risk is cool. There's a band Fool's Game from Pennsylvania. They both just did a split together too, and it's a pretty cool split. So check that out. What else have I been rocking? That band End It from Baltimore. They're really
okay.
Check them out. They're sick.
I'm definitely gonna check them out. Let's see.
Ended. What else am I listening to, dude? That CMI stuff. I've been listening to that,
bro. They just dropped a new song out of nowhere with Ryan from Liberty and Justice. I was like, what is going on?
They actually. So, like I said, a bunch of them are from here. So I did backup vocals on. I don't know if it was that. I didn't do a part. I just did like, gang vocals. Yeah. Because they did it. They didn't record it here, but they recorded the gang vocals here. So I ended up doing it.
Oh, nice.
What else am I to do? This band's not new, but COA, Colin of Arabia, he's got a new set coming out that I did a guest vocal spot on. And
oh, dude,
it's been a minute since he's put out something. So
it's been a hot minute, bro.
Yeah, I think it's coming out on Triple B later this year.
Dude, that label's killing it right now.
Yeah, they got a lot of good bands.
Dude, shout out to Triple B Records, bro. That's the kind of stuff I look at and go, if I can just get to that point, I would be satisfied, bro. Like I would be so hyped.
Yeah, and then on top of it, I mean, they're somewhat new. This band Painted Truth, which is blowing up right now.
Dude, right before we got on, I was editing a video for the one they did with Freddie Madball.
Yeah.
I'm dropping that in like a few minutes, bro.
Yeah. So that band's killing it.
They reminded me of you guys quite a bit.
Oh, awesome. They're from Long Island.
Nice.
They've been around super long, maybe like a year or two. But their full length is dropping If it
Let's
didn't
go.
drop, it's about to drop. That band's dope too.
Hell yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
I felt like CMI is kind of like the new Blood for Blood. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like
they
the
have like
feeling.
that oi kind of.
Yeah, it's like hardcore rock and roll.
For sure.
Yeah,
That band's fun.
band, dude. I wish, man, Blood for Blood. I only got to see him one time, but I'm glad I got to see him that once. Rob is super, super nice, man. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
I like Ramallah was good too.
Yeah, we did a bunch of touring in like 06, 07 with Ramallah. Yeah, I haven't seen Rob. I used to see Rob quite a bit. He used to come into my work like up to a year ago. I haven't seen him.
Nice.
It's like he's doing well, but as far as music, I think he's just done with it.
Yeah, dude,
Which
you get your heart broken enough, man, you're gonna stop.
100%. You know.
That's like a bucket list guest. I would love to get him on my channel one day. I've talked to Mark a couple times.
Yeah,
like I've had him on the channel at one point.
Yep.
He's awesome, dude. Fucking Ducky Boys rule. Dude, you know what band I always
right? He's got a label too. Right?
He's got Get Punk and what's the daggum label name? It's got the orange thing. It's called
what the fuck's it called?
I've got the t-shirt in my closet. I'll think of it when it doesn't matter anymore. But you know what band I always forget from Boston is The Unseen.
Yeah, well, Mark's a good friend of mine. He on our 2009 album, Better Ways to Die, he does a guest spot on there, Our Glory Days.
Dude, that guy, his vocals are fantastic.
Actually, you know what's funny? What was it? June? I think it was June 15th or something, man. What month is it? June or July? No, it was July 15th or something like that. We did a show in Boston with The Unseen. It was like because they're not broken up, but they only play like 2 shows a year. Like Mark owns a company. The rest of the guys are kind of all over the place. But we did like a 30th show with them, a 30th anniversary show in Boston. It was like Unseen,
nice.
Blank 77.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool show. Lenny Lashley did a solo thing.
I love Lenny Lashley, bro.
Yeah, so we did that. Mark's a really good friend of mine. I see him all the time. So he put us on that. I think they're in California, if not this weekend soon. But yeah, Unseen's a great band, man. I wish they were in tour, but I think the days of them touring are kind of over with. But they still go out there and do things here and there. Mark's always he's always around. He's always at shows, when he's not working, but he's always around.
That's one of the first street punk bands I ever heard. That was that I thought, oh man, this is and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but I was like, oh, this is a better version of the Casualties. Right, yeah. And I love the Casualties too.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be a dick.
I know what you mean, from your perspective. Yeah,
I was just like, that dude's vocals are crazy, bro. And then as he grew up, they got even better, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's why I was psyched. When he did that guest spot with us, I knew him, but I didn't know him. And he did a spot with us on the Better Ways to Die record in 09. And then
that's rad.
Then we got, we started hanging out more and more because I work literally in the same town that he lives in. So, we hang out here and there after work. And then,
nice.
And like I said, he's always coming to shows. So when we're playing around, he'll jump up and do his piece on the song. And yeah, he's awesome, man. I love that.
I met him once, way back, dude. State of Discontent, that era, back whenever they were on Hellcat. And as a matter of fact, when I met him, it's because they were touring with Ramallah, and it was my birthday.
Yeah, that because it was funny because I remember being like, I didn't know Mark well. I knew Unseen, and I knew Ramallah, and I was like, that's a cool lineup, Unseen and Ramallah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I went and saw them in Austin. I drove up there because they weren't hitting Houston for some reason.
Okay. I think that tour wasn't I could be wrong. I know it was a tour, but I don't think it was 4 to 6 weeks hit every.
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks or something like that.
Touring has always been complicated, but it's now it's even weirder, man, because people don't even do full tours unless you're a huge rock star.
Yeah, it almost doesn't even make sense. That's why that Texas stuff we're flying there.
Correct.
And shows. It's
does.
How was that Unseen Ramallah show? Cool.
But, oh my goodness, bro! It was my birthday, and I had met Rob a couple of times through Gabe and all those guys, and so he was like, "Hey, man," he saw me or something, and I was talking to him. And he goes, I know you, man. And he started talking to me about my throat tattoo or whatever. And I got this JMC tattoo. And he was like, these guys. I said, yeah, man. And he's like, let me buy you a drink, man. And I was like, all right. And back then I drank, you know, and
Right before
but
this.
I was more of a beer guy. And dude, he kept buying me like vodka drinks, dude. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna miss your set if we don't stop right now, bro. I'm gonna fall asleep, dude. But dude, all those, but I got to meet Mark as well, and they were just such nice dudes. Like, it's cool because when you're young, even though I was like similar in age to those guys, I saw them as like older guys because they were touring.
Right.
And that's one of the things I like about this culture so much is that when you do reach out to somebody, if you're able to get in touch with them, dude, 99.9% of the time they're cool. They're just like, oh yeah, dude, I didn't.
Well, we all come from the same place, so it all kind of, you know. And that is Gabe still doing that piss test band or whatever?
Man, so I talked to him recently, and I've been trying to get his ass on the show.
Yep.
But he's got something going on. I think there was some internal situation going on. They might have disbanded. I'm not even 100% sure.
Yeah,
I really like that band.
Like, I remember last time we were in Texas, he had just recorded that. I don't think they played with us, but I remember I was vibing on that, and he was at a show hanging out. And
dude, everything he does is awesome. But I mean, he's been a friend for so long that like I think I might just be a little biased because every time I hear something from him, I'm like, yeah, because I mean, I offered to do tapes and stuff for them, but I think that's what it was. Is they were having something. He was like, let me see what we're even going to do. And I think they might have just, but like, what a great name.
Dude, yeah, it's awesome. And it's super fast and angry. It just works perfectly.
It was very verbal abuse, negative approach.
100%. That's what I felt like. It was just fucking, it was mean. That's cool.
I'm glad they recorded some stuff, though, because we could still listen to it. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Like, if you have a point in your life where you can get some guys together, make some good music, and then it doesn't work out, dude, record it and put it out there for people to hear because we want it. We want to hear it.
and if it's out, if it's recorded and it's there, then it'll stay. You know, people will revisit stuff in different times and be like, "Oh, this was sick," you know.
Absolutely. It's dude. His vocal style has always been one that I really liked. I did a guest spot on their full length that Deep in the Heart. Yep. If you listen to Think Before You Speak, the one that's going save that PC shit, that's me. Okay. So that's cool. That. Yeah. So it's a whole thing. Yeah. Ryan actually from Liberty and Justice reminded me. He's like, that song's about you. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, bro. Like, he told me the story, and I was like, I forgot all about that, man. Because as many days and weeks and months as we've gone through of playing music and being at shows, there's so many things we've already forgotten.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You got anything that you're looking forward to coming up as far as music? Any shows you're going to go to as a fan?
What do I got? In a couple weeks, Rance is actually playing Boston with the Agnostic Front grade 2, so I'm going to go to that. There's 2 nights in Boston. First night's Agnostic Front grade 2. The second night is Murphy's Law and maybe grade 2 as well. That night I'm out of town, so I'm going to try to hit that AF one.
Dude, I'll take Rancid Agnostic Front grade 2 any day. That sounds awesome.
that new Rancid record's dope. And
bro,
so I'm going to go to that. What else?
It's so good.
Yeah, we have a bunch band-wise. So, like, we got a show this weekend. We got like 4 or 5, like a long weekend the following weekend. Then I'll see that Rancid show, and then we got a bunch of shows in October. So I personally just have a lot band-wise going on. So I'm gonna try to catch that Rancid show. There's like a metal fest in Worcester that used to happen back in the day, and they're redoing it, and Terra's playing out there.
Let's go.
So I'm gonna go check that out, I think. But yeah,
I have so my kids are hitting the age to where, like, my daughter, she's almost 9, and she's been to 2 shows now. Oh, cool. And I'm crossing my fingers that Rancid will come to anywhere near Houston, because I'll take the kids to go see him before. I gotta get my kids to see Rancid. My oldest finally decided he liked them. That new record he likes that record, and I was like, all right, man, whatever you like, bro. Like, it's so good. I got so it's weird. I do a lot of vinyl stuff. I'm a vinyl nerd, and I've got 2 copies that I got to open up of that Rancid record on like pink vinyl. It's a 500 press. I got some of the ones with the hand silk screen thing.
Oh yeah. I saw that they did. Yeah, they put that up there. Yeah.
And then this stupid shit right here, you're gonna laugh, bro. This is the lathe cut 5-inch perp walk from CMI.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know how many of these they made, but I'm not going to even tell you how much I paid for this because I'm ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I know like the CMI stuff goes up and it's like it goes quick, and they do like interesting things with their vinyl. They're pretty
that's
good.
what I like about it is that, and I asked Adam about that, and he was just like, man, we just do it, and if it goes crazy, it goes crazy. He's like, it's kind of weird, but I kind of think it's cool. I'm like, that's the best answer you could have given me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's an honest answer, you know?
For sure.
But yeah, it does kind of go wild. Whenever the LP, because so I have a small record shop that I own that's only open on the weekends.
Okay.
I live out in Magnolia, Texas now, so I'm about like from downtown Houston, it's almost about an hour.
Okay.
So it's kind of far. So my store's only open 2 days a week.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get some of that vinyl for the shop because I've met Adam now. I've talked to him a bunch. And so the freaking site crashed and like they sold out immediately. So fortunately, I know the guys at Rev, and I was like, hey man, I need like 7 copies of this. Like if you've got it. And they're like, we'll get you taken care of. And I just paid for them yesterday. I was like, woo. I've got like people that are asking for them.
It's hard to get. Yeah, for sure. That's
dude,
cool.
like as a collector myself, I get it. So I wanted to have some for me and I wanted to have some for my friends. And, I know that if I get it, they're not going to have to pay $80 for it. They could, $32, whatever it ends up being with the sales tax and then like the 20% markup, or whatever it ends up being. But I have a formula that I try to keep everything with. And if it doesn't fit in that, then I usually don't want it because
then it doesn't work, right?
No, bro. I don't mind paying some crazy price for something that I want.
Well, it's hard to put it up in a store, especially if you're not in like a hip downtown area where people are seeking like limited edition stuff. Like people want, I'm not spending $40 or $80 for this.
Yeah. What's cool is that I'm starting because I don't advertise online. I just have word of mouth business. Yep. And I've been there like 3.5 years, dude. And like, I just had to put I had these record bins that I had made. They're like 3 rows and they're probably like 100 records deep. Yeah. And so I just had to put another one in my store. So I've got 3 now. I've got about 1,000 albums I can put in there. And I'm starting to get recognized as like, hey, this is the dude you can go to get punk rock albums. And
that's cool.
It's pretty cool, man. I just hit up Rev for like 140 records, man. So I've got a whole bunch of inventory coming in. Yeah. That was I had to save for that one. That was hard.
Well, like I said, I mean, people are like, not that it ever really died off, but vinyl is really cool. So hopefully, like, there's kids and adults around where your store is that people will be like, oh, I can go there and get cool stuff. That like, I know like even Bridge 9, they spent like the last year or two, he lost his like, old warehouse, and now he's got a brick and mortar store, which is like half Bridge 9 and half Sully's Tees. So it's like you literally, and in the back, he actually has like bands play live now and again, as well as like warehouse space. But I was like, dude, you're opening a record store in this day and age. And he splits it with the Sully's Tees thing, but it's cool to like go to a store. I mean, he's an hour away from me, but when I get up there, it's cool to just go to a store, and it's not just Bridge 9 records. He has other records too.
That's awesome.
And just be able to flip through stuff like we used to be able to. Because like record stores are far and few between,
They really are. And I since I own a small little label, like I've got what it takes to get the shit in my place because I am who I am. And I'm not like special or anything. I'm just a workhorse, bro. I'm like I constantly do stuff. So it's pretty cool. I also sell, my store's split 50-50. I've got music and movies. So I do horror movies and I do like punk and hardcore music. And that's so cool. Like those things kind of go hand in hand anyway. So
do you do mail order on both of those too? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I know like for Chris, he was saying like, yeah, it's cool to have a store, but he also has like his online thing too to compensate.
I sell a little bit online, but since my overhead's really low right now, I try to keep it local so people can come in and find stuff locally because
you only open a couple days a week. You're just like,
it's a little like when I get in a pinch, I start listening to shit online.
For sure.
And then
keep it so you can get people in there.
Yeah. I want my local people to be able to come in and find good records. Cause like I had a guy come in, what was he looking for, man? And I had it and he couldn't fucking believe it. What's that band that goes Orf? Oh, what is it called? Knocked Loose.
Oh yeah.
So he comes in and he's like, hey man, I was told that you got some like punk rock stuff in here. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, what can I help you find? And I was just like sitting at my desk doing something on my phone. So I stopped and I was like, yeah, what can I? And he was like, man, you probably don't have this, dude, but I was looking for this band Knocked Loose and another band called Drain. And I was like, I've got both of those. And he was like,
man, Drain is another band. I mean, Knocked Loose. Yeah. I just played a couple shows with Drain and seen him in Boston. We played a couple shows in Europe with Drain festivals.
They're heavy, bro.
Dude. And then I actually, before I left for Europe, they played Boston with a bunch of cool younger bands. Combust is another band from New York. Check them out.
Combust, okay.
Yeah, they're they might be on Triple B. They opened up that show. But yeah, Drain's killing it too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, dude, you're fine, bro. Don't bother me at all. I run my damn mouth too much. Triple B, bro. I can't get over that label. Everything they're putting out is so good. But yeah, that kid was so psyched, man, and I was like, I was psyched that he was psyched. So I got all excited. I was like, yo, if you want them both, I'll give you a discount, bro. He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, man, I ain't tripping, dude.
That's cool.
And
Cool.
there's like a few staples that I keep in stock. Out Come the Wolves is always in my store. So if somebody locally needs it, I got it. Anything cool. Operation Ivy, but I've got some of y'all stuff. I've got some of the Terror represses. I got some of the H2O represses, the silver ones.
Yeah. Silver edition.
Fucking H2O, bro. How can you not want that in your store? I mean, come on. It's fucking H2O. That was another hardcore band that I didn't realize was a hardcore band when I was a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense because they've like, that like melodic style.
Yeah. They did that Madonna cover.
If you listen to punk and like, they weren't like super heavy, but yeah, I could see that.
They were like Possecore before Possecore. Like,
yeah, they're just a positive hardcore band that's melodic. So it's just like, and I feel like there was a time too where you would see like, punk bands, like maybe it was because of Warped Tour and stuff like that. You see punk bands and Sick of It All and H2O all in the same bill. You know what I mean? Like
Warped Tour did a lot to help that.
Yeah.
Sick of It All is another one, bro. Like there's so many bands that are just like, I'm gonna go listen to them tonight. I haven't listened to them forever. Like speaking of Sick of It All, don't they have that album called Blood, Sweat, and Tears? Or Blood, Sweat,
Blood, Sweat, No Tears. Yeah,
No Tears. It's like that's why we have album titles like that because we put that into the lifestyle.
For sure.
Like that's where those albums come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We could take that whole conversation full circle, man. And back when we were younger, we put our time and our blood and our sweat and our energy into making this a thing. Like it's just like that's why skateboarding is so important to the culture because it's all a DIY thing.
Absolutely, 100%.
You make a ramp. I remember when I had my first skateboarding like broken heart, man. I put together this fun box. It was like an 18-inch, like 6 foot by 3 foot like rectangle box, and we had saved up money and got coping and everything, bro. It was nice, man. And there was this redneck asshole living in Texas. This guy's like, hey, y'all don't need to be skateboarding out here in the street. And we were like, man, we're in the cul-de-sac in front of his house, bro. We ain't bothering nobody. And he just didn't like us. And so one day we had the fun box. You know how I'm not sure how neighborhoods are up in Boston, but we had like the curbs where the sidewalk is at. You have like a sprayed number on the street.
Okay, yeah, we don't have that like that there, but I've been in Texas.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we had the box up on that, so it kind of was at like an angle, so we could hit it like almost like a wall. Yeah, we could grind on it, right? So we had it like that, and it was in our buddy's yard. Like the guy we were hanging out with was in his yard, and his mom comes outside. She's like, "Hey, y'all want something to eat?" We're like, "Hell yeah!" We were in high school, and we're like, "Hell yeah!" So we go inside. We're eating like sandwiches and chips or whatever, right? And then we hear like this weird noise, and then we hear like a loud engine, and then we hear some crash. And this asshole went and got in his big ass truck and just crushed our skateboard, man, our ramp, our box, dude. And it's like,
you built,
bro. I was like, man, and you wonder why we have bad attitudes, like,
dude, that sucks.
Yeah, man. I'll never forget that because we were like sincerely pissed off because it took a lot of time for us kids to do that. I mean, shit, you're kids, you don't have a lot of time anyways. You're going to school
or the funds to get the you find a scrap wood around the house, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah.
I think that's what we did even, man. I think my mom had some stuff. She built me a treehouse when I was a kid, and we took part of that apart and used it, like, used that as, like,
all that shit.
Yeah, man. It's wild, man, the stuff people will do just because they're unhappy with their lives. Like, that's what it is.
It really is.
Yeah, he's not unhappy with me. He's unhappy with himself. Maybe his wife's not making him unhappy. I don't know, but, like,
whatever the case.
Dude, I was at this place. We used to call it Mexican tile because it looked like that, that red clay tile roofing.
Yeah, on the roofs there, the oval.
Yeah, bro. So we had this like place. It was huge, dude. I don't know what it was. I wish I could go back there and see it, but I think it's been torn down. But it was this giant complex of buildings.
Okay.
And it was just vacated. It was just concrete everywhere though. And so we'd call it like, yo, you want to go to Mexican tile and skate? We'd go out there and skate.
Because there was a bunch of shit to skate on in there,
bro. There was like ledges and staircase, like little 3 and 4 stairs and handrails and
different spots. Like not as cool as that, but we had some spots.
Oh, this was like this is like this is the coolest place I've ever skateboarded in my life.
That's amazing.
And I remember one day I was out there with these 2 twins and this kid named Ramsey who was actually in Liberty and Justice. Oh, okay. Like I've known him since I was 5 years old.
That's
yeah, bro. It's Houston's a weird place because we all kind of just
knows each other. Yeah.
And we were outside skating one day and I was the wild one. I was the one that was always getting into fights and shit, and like I was always in trouble at school. And so like if something was going down, they'd be like, "Yo, go get Randy real quick," and I'd take a beating if I had to, but I would be in the mix. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I hear this dude yelling at my friends. I come skating around, and he's like, "Hey man, y'all can't skate over here." Dude, we didn't even argue. We were like, "Oh, all right." And I think I think one of the twins had a car, and so he was like, "Hey, let's just get out of here." And I was like, "All right, bet." And so I picked up whatever I had, like a boom box or something, and then my skateboard. And one of the twins skated towards the car. This dude goes, "I told you don't skate here." Hops in his shit and then runs into my boy with a car.
Really?
Dude, like,
that's
fortunately, bro. Well, he like throws it in park and gets out, and I come running over with my skateboard. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me with it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah!" And I tried to hit him, and he jumped back in his car, so I hit his headlight out with the trucks on my skateboard. That's another thing that I'll never forget. Like I can't remember what his face looked like, but I can remember all that happening and like
all those details,
being like hyped up for like 2 hours about it because I was like, I thought I was gonna get in a lot of trouble too. But
that's wild, man. Yeah, people back then, like, there was like such an you can't. It might still be like that in skate in the air.
No, not really like that, dude.
I feel like it's a little more acceptable, but yeah, you get yelled at for skating everywhere, whether you're like,
dude, the 90s were rough, bro.
As soon as you find like an empty spot, someone's coming in to tell you can't, whether they should or not.
100%. I like I told you, I live out in the kind of the sticks now.
Yeah.
And I was driving. I've been out here like a month and a half. I'm brand new to this area, so like I am the only dude with like tattoos. I got like a Rancid and a Gulch sticker on the back of my car, and I've already walked out of like a Taco Bell or something. I don't eat Taco Bell, but McDonald's, wherever I was at, with some dude like looking at the Gulch sticker like this, looking at it, and then like looking in my window, and I'm like, "Bro, it's a band," and he's like, "Oh shit," but what I was getting at was that I was driving to the post office one day to drop off some records. And I couldn't believe it, dude. I Googled like the address, and I wanted to take some back roads to learn the neighborhood. And like a mile from my house is an actual skate park. It's free.
That's awesome.
It's like it's like a small place, but it's got
I'm sure it's not
like
crazy, but I've noticed that too. Like I said, I don't skate anymore, but like a lot of cities and even smaller towns and stuff like are putting out skate parks, which is, I think that's awesome. You know what I mean?
I was so stoked, bro, because like I don't like skate like that, but I do have a skateboard, and I still got like 12 pairs of Vans, and I was like, I can go out there and just cruise around, lose a little weight, man. But it's got cool, like, dude, it's got like a little quarter pipe. It's got a big ass bank. It's got like 2 or 3 different size boxes, a couple of rails, and it's all smooth concrete. And there's it's nobody out there.
Dude, it's weird.
I know. I'm gonna go out there and just hang out.
just touring and stuff, or even like, when I'm driving for work. Yeah, I've seen some, and I don't know if it's a time and place. So like I've seen some in different towns that look like no one's in it. But then even in my city, there's one, it's a little bigger, and that seems to have a bunch of people in there and stuff like that.
I saw a sheriff because he saw me like pulled over and like just sitting there. So he pulled. Dude, they're real conservative out here, man. He pulled up behind me, and he had actually seen me because I had the cops call on me at McDonald's, bro. It's just this whole thing.
Okay.
And so like he saw me, and I guess he recognized me because I recognized him immediately. And so I just said, "Hey," "What's up, man?" I said, "I just wanted to look at the skate park. I didn't know this was here." I said, "Is there ever kids out here?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You won't see them much during the week, but on the weekends they come hang out." He's like, they got and he was super cool. But like,
that's cool.
Fucking McDonald's, bro. Oh man, the service industry is a wild place. I bartend a little bit, and I get it, I guess. But like, man, if you hate your job, bro, quit your job. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Times are tough, man. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people working in places they don't want to be, and things are wild.
They absolutely do. We're wrapping up here in a minute, man. What is it that you do outside of music? You were saying something about your job. I didn't even think to ask.
Yeah. I actually clean and set up aquariums.
That's dope.
It's all right. I mean, I fell into it.
I think that's cool.
I fell into it. I work for a company, but I can like kind of make my own schedule in a way. But
that's cool.
I still, I work weird. It's a cool job. I mean, it ain't like a fucking keep it for the rest of your life, but I'm able to tour. So that's, I mean, that's the thing. I can make money when I'm home and then be able to tour and, come and go. So it's cool.
I would imagine that you have the ability to throw a podcast on if you want while you're working.
Yeah. For the most part.
That's all you can ask for, dude.
Yeah. And if sometimes it's like long days and setting up a tank, and sometimes I'm just hitting multiple houses or businesses, cleaning tanks.
Yeah.
So I can drive, put on a podcast in between. So it's It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, the flexibility and a reasonable boss that's really the dream that people
Absolutely.
don't realize that they're looking for.
Yeah, especially when you're in a band and trying to tour, you know what I mean? So it's good.
100%. Like I have, do you know what Alamo Draft House is?
Sounds familiar. What is
It's
that?
a theater with like a bar inside of it.
Where is that?
They started them in Austin, but they're all over the country
Oh,
now.
so it's a bunch of them. Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds familiar. I don't know if I've ever been to one.
They're pretty awesome, man.
Okay.
That's where I work, and I was a customer there for a long time, and I just fell into a job there.
Oh,
And
cool.
I moved 45 minutes away, and I still go there and work 3 days a week because it's such a badass job. Like a lot of people need to understand it.
I don't necessarily love fish. I mean, I don't hate them. It's just a job.
No, it's just an interesting job. Like that's not a boring job.
Yeah, the people I work for and a lot of my customers and stuff like that are really cool. So I mean, it's not like always hectic or anything like that. And like you said, it's having that not hating your job is a good thing.
Bro, dude, it's so valuable to have a place that you can go in and not be miserable. It's really important. And a lot of people like if anybody's watching this, man, and you're having like a bad day, like they're gonna come and go, man. It's all right, dude. Life is a roller coaster to a degree I can't explain, man.
100%.
So I always tell people that if they want to reach out and talk or they got something they need to get off their chest, man, all my information's in the description below, man. Dude, Bryan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, my friend.
I appreciate you having me. I don't know, man. Hopefully, I don't know, check out in Houston when we're there. I'm
going to be up there in October, man. If you got a few minutes, you think we could set up and do a little hangout for a minute?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, this is a weird question I wasn't going to ask you, but I have to. You got to shoot your shot when you get the opportunity. If there's anybody from any hardcore punk bands that you can get me in touch with, man, I'll be very respectful, and I'm not trying to bother nobody.
Yeah,
but any kind of leads would help a lot.
Yeah, shoot me an email and
all right.
Give me a handful of bands that you think of, and I can try to get you some emails and stuff like that. You can hit up.
Awesome, dude. Well, all dude, it's been an awesome time talking, man. I appreciate it, and I love your band, bro. And I'll see you in a few weeks.
That. Thanks for your support. Thanks for
hell yeah
thing, and yeah, we'll talk soon, brother.
Awesome. Everybody out there, go check out Death Before Dishonor if you haven't done so already. Check them out there on tour in your city, man. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Awesome. Peace.